Now, Abhijeet Banerjee, a Nobel Prize winner, and of course, done India so proud. Thank you very much, Abhijeet, for joining us. It means a lot to us, because at the time of the stress and suffering because of this lockdown, how farmers and small farmers in particular are not getting, a price for their product after working on it for the last 4 months. This is the moment when they earn and they're not getting what they normally get. They're getting 1/10 what they normally get. Now, government should help, but it's leaving a huge gap for uh, organizations like Rangde. How should the government have helped more? Should it identify the poorest and help only them? But the process of identifying the poorest gets bogged down in bureaucracy. At a time like this, the government should help only the poorest, or should it go further?
I would have gone long further and gone to every household that's on any list on the NREGA rolls from last year, on the the Indira Awas Yojana list, the Ujjwala list. All these have some kind of a list of people. I would have taken sort of triangulated the list, taken every household we can find, and given them the same money, not just farming households. I think it's odd to pick out the farming households when, as you say, a lot of people reliant on agriculture are not classified as farmers.
So, are you saying that instead of targeting a section of society, for example, the very poorest, it's time to give up the time-consuming process of targeting, which means a lot of work, it's difficult, and essentially ensure that there is some sort of basic income for everyone? In other words, during a crisis, don't be selective?
I think that's exactly right. I think for two reasons. One is I think that even people who look okay on paper have been hit now. So there is a lot of the middle class, so-called middle class, rural India is now fallen into poverty. So I think that's one thing, or I will fall into poverty when they're using their savings to survive. So there is a lot of that, and there is, I think, targeting is extremely costly. You try to target, you miss the right people often because they are the poorest of the poor. So I think we need to be proactive, and if there's some mistakes made, mistakes can be made. This is not, after all, food goes to people, they eat it.
Sir, looking ahead, what is needed for the economy for some kind of normalcy to return? What do you see are the key constraints right now?
I think that the economy revives. It's not that lack of jobs that's a problem. You can see already that a number of chief ministers have identified the opposite as the problem, that they're not going to come back. They've been so burnt, it's been so miserable that they're not going to come back, and that the industries will suffer because of that. I think the problem, if the right set of steps are taken, demand is boosted, and maybe the government is moving in that direction, and we do see a revival of the economy, then the constraint is going to be labor.
Right. Abhijeet, you've been watching heart-rending scenes of migrants with little children. Many of them are agricultural laborers, the poorest of the poor. They've just no livelihood where they are. They're walking hundreds of miles to get to their villages. Has a certain level of trust been broken? And as you say, will they think hard before returning to cities? Or what have you heard? Are migrants actually prepared to go back? And is this, do they just need support at this time, like a short-term loan, interest-free loan, to tie them over this period?
They've been burnt very badly. I suspect that a lot of them will hesitate to come back. This history would be written, and I think they are probably even right to worry that, maybe in the fall the infection rates will have an uptick, and then they'll have to have another lockdown, and this time, inshallah, we'll have a better system of dealing with it. I think this should be a massive learning experience, that we have massive amounts of migrants. They need social support, especially in a lockdown. because it's not their fault that there's been a lockdown, and we can't expect him to starve to death and continue to do the job. So I really think that this is going to be a kind of a turning point. I hope it's a positive turning point for the economy.
बिल्कुल, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। जिस तरह से आपने कहा है कि उम्मीद करते हैं पॉजिटिव टर्निंग पॉइंट हो। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मिस बैनर्जी।